heard this kind of rhetoric before. It's dangerous. They're calling for violence. And they have lawn chairs and yard signs and their children. Yet the media apparently has not heard the kind of rhetoric before where people are actually calling for violence. We now have videotape posted on the Blaze that you have to ask yourself, why is the Blaze the story the only place you're finding this story in the mainstream? Why? Why is the mainstream media not reporting the story of the Black Panthers teaching people, including children, to behead others? Here is the audio, and Pat, if you can set this up just a little bit and kind of take us through on what each cut says, because it's kind of hard to understand it when you're not watching the video.
Yeah, it's being filmed from sort of the back of this auditorium, it looks like. And every once in a while, the guy who's filming it gets a shot of this table in front of the stage where these little kids are sitting. I mean, one of them looks to be maybe in his teens. There's another one who's maybe 12. But one of the girls on the far left looks like she's 6 or 7 years old. Mm-hmm. And they're training with guns and with machetes and, as you said, some pretty violent rhetoric. And here's a little bit of what he was teaching these kids.
Here, taking his leg. While I still have his throat, I'm cutting off his air supply.
Stop! I can't understand what he's saying. Can you translate?
Yeah, he's telling the guy to come forward, and he's saying you got to kick him in the groin to stop him, and then you put the gun up to him and you shoot him in the leg a couple of times.
Okay.
And then he demonstrates how you put your hand on his throat, on his Adam's apple, and then bring him down to the ground.
That now sends him into confusion. Okay, he's worried about breathing, and I'm back.
Now he's worried about he's going backwards, and he's worried about breathing.
While you may put 2 bullets in his legs.
While you put 2 bullets in his legs.
So as I'm sending him back, I'm going to make sure he don't get up.
And you're going to make sure he doesn't get up.
So when he falls, he's still down. Now it's your choice. You can finish off the rest of your load.
So when he falls down, you can finish him off with the rest of your load.
Maybe you just go on about your business.
Or you can just go on about your business. It just says it's that
Unbelievable.
simple.
Unbelievable. He also says you cut off the wind completely and you back him up and put 2 in him. I don't know what those 2 are.
Bullets.
I'm kidding. I was playing the role of MSNBC.
Oh.
Yeah.
Okay. All right.
Okay. What's the first thing?
I thought maybe you were thinking candies. You know, you give him a couple of candies just to make up for the violence. Here's a couple of candies. You put those 2 in him, and then he feels a little bit better about what just transpired.
Right. Maybe a couple sticks of gum.
Yeah.
Do you have the decapitation part?
No.
Okay. There is there's part of this video and pictures on it. He says, now I can either go for his fingers and cut his fingers straight off, or I can go right for his wrist. He follows through with the knife's momentum in slow motion. Shabazz then demonstrates how he can cut right through his attacker with the knife, the machete, then holds his head from behind, exposing his neck, and mimes decapitating him. I can hold his head up high just like that, he says triumphantly. Then an audience member yells out, "Black Power." At one point, a weapon is heard clattering to the floor, and a small child appears to retrieve it and put it back on the stage. After that, a second machete demonstration. An audience member comments, "Damn, you got to do all that?" Another one laughs and says, "Overkill." It's also worth noting in separate video posted in May, where it's unknown if kids were present, 1 month before the survival training, Shabazz addressed a group with a speech called Exhuming of a Nation. Among other statements, he declared, F. Whitey's Mother Day. He said, I see black folks in here. I see no crackers in here today. How do you feel? The audience answers, Black Power. You gotta love being black. Yes, they chant back. Do you love being black? Yes. Will you die being black? Yes. Will you kill to be black? Yes. Black Power. Are you ready for black? Black Power, they all chant. Now, I've got news for you. That's dangerous. That's dangerous if somebody were saying those same words as a white person, as a brown person, as a yellow person, as a purple person. I don't care. They're all screaming purple power. You prepared to be purple? You ready to kill to be purple? Purple power. It doesn't matter. Why is the media not covering these people? By the way, Shabazz, also shown in the video, accusing, or just calling Fox News Fox Jews. I contend that the Black Panthers and groups like these, the militant wing of the left, they are being used, and they are the SA, if you will. The stormtroopers, the ones that were the brown shirts, remember, first were embraced by Hitler, but not really. They were just the brown shirts, and they were walking around, and they were, demonstrating, and they were beating people in the streets. They were the ones that first went after the Jews and the communists and everybody that disagreed with them. They kept society, they trained society to bow down in front of the swastika and say nothing. They would march in the streets, and they would come and they would abuse you if you didn't give the Heil Hitler salute. At first, Germans didn't do that. They were trained by the brown shirts, and they were always disavowed by the head of, by Hitler and his cronies. They were always, no, you know what, those guys get out of control. We're trying to put the lid on them. We're on that. Oh, that was just one guy that beat up a Jew, and man, we are so sorry that happened. We're gonna get to find out who was behind that, but we're pretty sure it was just that one guy who was out of control. Then came the Night of Long Knives. I want you to look this up. The Night of Long Knives. This was the night that changed everything. This was the night that, if I may use the words of Van Jones, bottom up, top down, inside out. The Night of the Long Knives was when Hitler purified his own party. Anybody who wasn't really on his side, anybody who was becoming too powerful, like the brown shirts. The brown shirts played a very important role for Hitler. What they did was they went and they trained everybody. They caused so much fear that when he took the Night of Long Knives and he just took the constitutional power and said, I'm going to be judge and jury tonight. And he went and he killed people, hundreds of people. He pulled SA officers, the brown shirts, out of their cars, out of their homes. People were killed in front of their children. They were just shot. Some of them were not brown shirts. Some of them, they were mistaken. There was no trial. He said, go get them. So they did. They went in, they shot them. People really expected, outside of Germany, they really expected people to rise up and say, what was that? You can't just round people up and shoot them. But instead, the media praised Hitler. And Hitler came out and said, because he sounded like a strong guy, you know what? These guys were conspiring against the state. They were frightening people, and they had to be stopped. And because I felt it was at a critical juncture and we were losing time because they were going to overthrow the state, I had to take action. And the people applauded. Why? Because Hitler looked like less of a maniac than the brown shirts did. The brown shirts were causing so much fear on the streets that when Hitler came in and said, I'm going to kill all of them, and did, people cheered him. I contend you are seeing the beginnings of that. Look, there's nobody that thinks that the Black Panthers aren't dangerous. There's nobody out there. You're telling me that someone with a sign holding it up, they're 70 years old, and they're sitting in a lawn chair. You think they're more dangerous than the Black Panthers? You think what they're doing, their rhetoric, is somehow or another worse than the Black Panthers? It's completely unreasonable. Completely unreasonable. The only thing that they'll say about the Black Panthers, oh, it's just the Black Panthers, and no big deal. They've been around forever. Uh-huh. And now they're being emboldened. Now nobody's looking at them. Nobody's watching them. They're getting away with almost murder. And nobody's saying anything. So they're allowed to grow. They're allowed to sow these seeds. When society starts to go south, you're going to beg for an answer. And Barack Obama or whoever the president is could round them up and execute them. If times were bad enough, execute them. And you would cheer. Be very, very careful. For anybody who says that these things couldn't happen, may I ask the question, how long has it been since Jews were being exterminated overseas and this country did nothing? How long has it been since African Americans have been free from slavery? And then, how many years has it been since they've really had rights? When they were free of brutality? 1968? 1978? 1988? 98? When? How long has it been? How long has it been, most people don't know this, how long has it been since they took off the books that it was legal to kill a Mormon? 1976. Why is it we think in a country that has a history of atrocities? How long has it been since we rounded up the Japanese and put them behind barbed wire? How long was it since we just allowed citizens to kill Germans on the street because they were speaking German? That year was 1917. Now, why is it so unreasonable to think that violence could come in the form of the United States government? They've either turned a blind eye or caused it several times before. Let me ask you, Native Americans, how long has it been since we said manifest destiny and rounded them up? It can never happen here. It's happened here over and over again. Not as bad as other countries, but it still happened here. What are we, nuts?
GBTV. The truth lives here.